Today we'll be solving for angles. We'll be given an angle with the measures marked with an algebraic expression or a number, and we need to write an equation and solve for x. Once we solve for x, we're going to substitute it back in and then determine the value of each angle. So we're going to be combining our knowledge of geometry with algebra. So write an equation and solve for x, then determine the value of each angle. So the first step is to determine the relationship of these two angles. Are they complementary, supplementary, or are they vertical? Well, they form a straight line, so they're supplementary. And supplementary angles equal 180. So we're going to be writing an equation, so we need an equal sign. So we need an equal sign. So these two angles added together are going to equal 180. And then we're going to go ahead and we're not going to just copy this down. We're really writing an equation that's 2x plus 1 plus 31 is equal to 180. But let's go ahead and combine some of this so we don't have to write so much. So we know they're going to equal 180. So how many x's do we have? We have a 2x. And then we have a 1 plus a 31, so plus 32. So I've taken 2x plus 1 plus 31 equals 180. And I just went ahead and combined like terms. So now I have my equation, 2x plus 32 equals 180. So this is just a two-step equation. So 2x equals 180 minus 32 is 148. And now I need to divide by 2. And x equals 74. So we wrote an equation, we solved for x. Now we need to determine the value of each angle. So we need to substitute this back in. So we have 2 times 74 plus 1. 2 times 74 plus 1 is 149. So this angle equals 149 degrees. And we can check that's right by saying 149 plus 31 is equal to 180. All right, our next example, we're going to write an equation and solve for x and then determine the value of each angle. So step number 1 is to determine whether this relationship, what type of angles are these? Are they complementary? Are they supplementary? Or are they vertical? Well, they form a corner. They got a right angle here, so they're complementary. So these two angles together are complementary. So they equal 90 degrees. And we're going to add 2x plus 9 plus 3x plus 1. So we can just add our x's. We have a 2x and a 3x is 5x. And 9 plus 1 is 10, so plus 10. So we're just adding these two angles together. They have to equal 90. And we went ahead and combined like terms, and we have our equation. So now we're going to minus 10 on both sides. And 5x equals 80. And we'll divide by 5. X is 16. So we wrote an equation, we solved for x, now we then need to determine. So we need to substitute 16 back in. So we're going to say 2 times 16 plus 9. So the measure of this first angle is 41. Now let's find the measure of the second angle. 3 times 16 is 48, plus 1 is 49. So the second angle measures 49 degrees. So to check that they equal 90 together, we're going to say 41 plus 49 equals 90. So we're going to write an equation, solve for x, and then determine the value of each angle. So here we have two intersecting lines and two angles. So the first thing we need to do is determine the relationship. Is this a pair of complementary angles, supplementary angles, or are these vertical angles? Well, these are vertical angles, and vertical angles are equal to each other. So this angle equals that angle. So 2x minus 20 equals x plus 10. So let's go ahead and remember this is a 1x. So let's go ahead and put that 1 in there. We're going to minus 1x on both sides. 2x minus 1x is x. Minus 20 equals 10. And then we're going to add 20. So x equals 30. So we wrote our equation. We solved for x. Now we need to determine the value of each angle. So we need to substitute 30 in for x. So 2x minus 20. So 2 times 30 is 60. Minus 20 is 40. So this one's 40. Now this one should be 42 also because they're equal to each other. So 30 plus 10 is 40. So yes, we're correct. They're both 40 degrees. Number 4, we're going to write an equation, solve for x, and then determine the value of each angle. So the first step is to look and see what the relationship of these two angles are. Are they complementary? Are they supplementary? Or are they vertical? Well, these two angles form a straight line, so they're supplementary. And we know that the one angle plus the other angle is equal to 180. So we know it equals 180. So let's go ahead and combine some like terms. We have a 6x, and then we have a 61 and a 5, so plus 66. So now we need to subtract 66 on both sides. So 6x equals 180 minus 66, and that's 114. And then we're going to divide by 6. X equals 114 divided by 6, which is 19. Okay, so let's substitute that back in. This angle is 61, and this one is 6x plus 5, and x is 19. So 6 times 19 is 114, plus 5 is 119. So this angle equals 119, and now these two together should equal 180. Let's check that out. 119 plus 61 is 180. So number 5, we're going to write an equation, solve for x, and then determine the value of each angle. So the first step is to determine the relationship of these two angles. Is this an example of complementary, supplementary, or vertical angles? Well, this is an example of complementary angles. So we know that when we add these two angles together, they equal 90. So how many x's do we have? We have 1x plus 12 plus 63 is 75. So we're going to minus 75 on both sides. So 1x equals, or just x we can write, 90 minus 75 is 15, so x is 15. So we wrote the equation, we solved for x, now we need to determine the value. So we need to take 15 plus 12. 15 plus 12 is 27. So we're going to check that 27 and 63 equal 90. 27 plus 63 equals 90. And number 6, we're going to write an equation, solve for x, and then determine the value of each angle. So the first step is to determine the relationship of these two angles. Are they complementary? Are they supplementary? Or are they vertical? Well, this is an example of vertical angles, and we know that vertical angles are equal to each other. So 5x plus 3 is equal to 73. So 5x plus 3 equals 73. So we're going to minus 3 on both sides. 5x equals 70. 70 divided by 5 is 14. So x equals 14. So let's substitute that back in. 5 times 14 is 70, plus 3 is 73. So the measure of this angle is 73 and that angle is 73. And we know that's true because they're vertical, they're equal to each other.